Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports Update. And I am your host, C. Wall, checking in as I do each and every single week to bring you the latest and greatest information on the hot topics happening in DMV sports. This is where you can get all of your comments, questions, maybe even some of your frustrations, perhaps, discussed and talked about in a live forum. While we're getting started into the conversation, first we have to go through a few housekeeping items. This is a live Bowie television recording. Everything we say and do here will more than likely end up on your television screens. Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity Channel 77 each and every single day from 1:30 to 2:30 and on the weekends during the noon hour. Make sure you all are also following Bowie Television on YouTube at Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland, where it's a ton of content. It's not just this show. It's all of the shows, well, not all, but most of the shows, the great content that we have coming on the television channel, we also have on YouTube as well. If you have joined in from Facebook, hit that love button and make sure you share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. If you've joined from YouTube, make sure you hit the bell, drop a fire emoji so that I know that you're here, and you can still share this link with your DMV sports loving family and friends. And everybody, why don't you say hello to Mama Waller and Papa Waller? Because if you say hello to me, you got to say hello to my parents. So make sure you say hello to Mama Waller and Papa Waller too while you're hitting that love button and sharing this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. So, in terms of hot topics, even though we cover, like right now, I'm mostly, you all know, Seaball, I spend most of my time with the Washington Commanders and the Washington Wizards. That's where I'm physically at those games, events, practices, you name it, on a regular basis. I do know, and we do cover at Bowie TV, the Baltimore Ravens as well. So I know they have a big game tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm going to keep you. I'm not going to keep you all. I'm not going to keep you all too long. I don't think. It depends on how you all do. It depends on how the conversation goes. You never know. The conversation starts getting too good, then you already know that, hey, maybe we are going to stay on right up until that game kickoff. So don't forget, love button, share the show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. We're definitely going to get into the Wizards. Wizards fans, check in. And of course, we're going to get into the Washington Commanders. First up, the Washington Wizards. So, Wizards fans, Commanders fans, this conversation is absolutely for you. It seems like I've been talking to you all a lot lately because, like I said, that's where I spend the bulk of my time. So, yes, let's have a conversation. Why don't we? Wizards fans, how are you holding up? The Washington Wizards are 2-9 right now. And while you're sharing in the chat how you're holding up, I also want to know, did you think the Wizards would be 2-9? How did really how did you think? Because I know I've given you all a pep talk. I'm like, hey, this is the year to temper your expectations. This is a year to keep it light, keep yourself as stress-free as possible. If you go to a game, go and just enjoy the environment. Don't necessarily go be and have a lot of expectations. If you go, District E, right in Gallery Place, has a lot of pregame activities, a lot of fun things happening. So maybe go there, before the game for pregame activities. When you're at the game, just enjoy yourself. but I really want to know some of your thoughts. Did you think they would be 2-9? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Did I think they would be 2-9? No, I didn't. And as I'm sitting here talking to you all, I can still say that there are a couple of games I would have thought, based on what we've seen so far, and actually based on what has happened in these games, they could have at least won 5. That's what I'm thinking. I think they could have at least won 5. There's 3 hanging out there, 3 that they lost, and we're still trying to figure. Well, we can probably, after going back and watching, we can probably figure out how they lost for sure. But 2-9, that's not good. It's bad. And they right now are sitting at almost the worst record in the league. The only team that has the absolute worst record is the Detroit Pistons. So I think they could have gotten 5. They've only gotten 2. And if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that love button and share this show. You are watching from the Coach from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. And I'm your host, C. Wall. We're talking about the Wizards and we're talking about the Commanders. So you absolutely want to get your Wizards and Commanders favorite folks locked into this live discussion to talk all things Wizards and Commanders. I'm going to share a bit from the press conference last night with the Wizards took on the Dallas Mavericks. That was not necessarily a game that I was expecting them to win. And I know that some people are like, okay, well, Kyrie Irving did not play, so they still should have, gave it a much more effort than was there. But I wasn't necessarily expecting this game to be a win because Luka gonna be Luka. And even though Luka was still Luka, he actually was not the top scorer of the game. It was actually Tim Hardaway Jr. So here's a snippet of the press conference with head coach Wes Unseld Jr. and a snippet of Wizards rookie Bilal Coulibaly. I absolutely want to see and just understand and know what your comments are. What are your comments on what coach is saying and what he is sharing in this press conference? This snippet, or is a snippet, but it's a video. This is around 4 minutes long. So Wizards fans, for sure, drop in the chat what you think about what coach is saying in the press conference pieces that I'm sharing here. Check it out.
Games tonight, it seemed like it regressed. What did you see out there, and were you satisfied with the effort?
I thought that first quarter, we weren't, I didn't think we approached it the right way in terms of, little coverage confusion, some communication, some transition. Obviously, we missed a lot of, looking back, I think pretty good looks, particularly from 3. Landry, Corey, JP, you're pretty good shooters. A lot of those turn into runouts. And so that affects, of course, your transition defense, your overall defense. At times, I think we did some good things, and they forced them to make tough shots over contests. We could live with some of that. But that first quarter, the pace in which they played, was unique for them. They got up and down. You got them lifted early and picked up the foul, and it's going to happen. Just having the discipline to stay down. And he's a heck of a player. He sells it. He gets everybody. That's a learning experience. You have to figure out how to be disciplined, be the second jumper, show your hands. He's a master, breaking through and drawing fouls and free throws. So it's an experience for him. I think he had some good moments, and then some moments where maybe the youth came shining through.
What have you made of the offensive start to the season that JP has had?
Not a ton. I think it's going to take some time to get a rhythm. I said this before, it's a new space for him. And he's, 1 if not 2 on the scouting report. So he's seeing little bit more attention he's probably normally used to. That takes an adjustment.
Losses, but growth. What do you see growth in a night like this?
For certain stretches there was some growth. I thought we did some good things. Look at quarters 2, 3, and 4, we were +2. So the first quarter is kind of what did us in. That's not a silver lining. Those are the numbers. So the fact that we were able to compete, kind of claw our way back into it, the differential was done. But I thought we did some good things, in quarters 2, 3, and 4.
Wes, when you're talking about Jordan, I feel like you can see with your eyes where he is adjusting and learning to that, but his numbers are actually pretty kind of standard for what they've been throughout his career. What does success from him look like then? Are you hoping to see him obviously increase his numbers, or can you kind of give me the metric?
Well, I think just more the overall efficiency. He's gonna score, and for a guy who works incessantly, on his shot, it's like you want it for him, because he puts in so much time. And it'll happen. I think it's just more once he gets a rhythm, gets one game under him, sees the ball go in at a high clip. I think that'll open things up for him.
There have been moments of individual good man defense. What do you feel like isn't translating to the team defense aspect?
Well, some of it is the one-on-one piece. To your point, sometimes it's good. We're not always in the right spot at the right time off the ball, which leads to certain things. Tonight, I think transition was a bit of an issue, and some of the offensive rebound. Not a ton, but they capitalized on most of those opportunities.
Playing for each other, we were not in the rotations, we were not respecting what we were supposed to do, so that was it.
And you got a pretty big test guard in Luka Doncic tonight. What was it like going up against him?
I always loved this game. Playing against a great player like that is always, good. Learning a lot of things, and I hope I do better playing the next game against him.
You were able to get a few stops against him. Does that build your confidence as a defensive player?
Yeah, of course. Every time I see a superstar on me, I'm trying to get a stop, and it helps me a lot.
If you are just tuning in, you are now watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I'm your host, Seawall, and this is a live Bowie television recording. In this space, we talk all things DMV sports. This show is dedicated to the 2-9 Wizards, because I feel like I have to say that, and then the Washington Commanders, which we'll get to the Commanders in a moment. If you just tuned in, hit that love button and share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. If you're watching from Facebook and if you're watching from YouTube, hit the bell, say hello so that I know that you're here. I want to go back to what rookie Bilal Coulibaly just said. And he basically said, we're not respecting what we're supposed to do. Way to make it plain. Listen, if there are certain things that you are supposed to be doing and you already know we're not doing it, we're not respecting it, we're not where we're supposed to be, that's for certain one explanation to what is transpiring. Now, you all have heard me talk about the fact that this Wizards leadership team, we all know they're going through a rebuild. They're going through a rebuild. They're going through a restructuring. So when those things happen, you're going to see what you're saying. It's not going to feel good. Change is hard. It's bad. It's ugly. It's unpleasant for a lot of the time. It really is. At the same token, if there are things that you should be doing and you as a team, the team, are not doing those things, well then, there you have it. As the season goes on, and this is with any sport, it gives teams time to continue to build that camaraderie, that chemistry, just understand their place. This is a team of various role players that this front office is pulled together, and they don't, it still remains to be seen who is the leader, right? I don't clearly see it. I mean, we could say, okay, is it Kyle Kuzma? Is it Jordan Poole? I mean, Kyle Kuzma, from a scoring perspective, that is the Wizard who is scoring the most points. That is the returning Wizard, or one of the returning Wizards that, you know, was once a part of a big three, what they were calling him, right? When he was with Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. So he's returning. So you would imagine that Kuz is the leader, perhaps. But the reality is, you can tell they're still figuring it out. They're absolutely still figuring it out. Now, hey, there's absolutely some instances. I'm going to go back to those 3 games. One being the Charlotte Hornets last Friday, the Toronto Raptors earlier this week, the Brooklyn Nets earlier this week, where the Wizards absolutely had a chance. They had a chance. They were actually doing the things that they should be doing. And there was a shift. There was a change, whether that had been a lineup change, whether that had just been a change in perhaps what Coulibaly is talking about, which is you're not respecting what you're supposed to be doing. And these teams, as in any sport, you start showing your age in terms of this being a young team, and you start showing your age, the veterans are going to show theirs as well, right? They're going to show, we know what to do in these situations. The game is long. We know what to do in these situations. We know how to get an edge on. We know how to get a comeback going. We understand those things. You can't get too comfortable. And I mentioned those 3 games because those were 3 games where the Wizards had a chance. I want to go back to the Hornets game, because I think this is a very important point. And Wizards fans, if you're still locked in, I want to know if you noticed this. I want to know if you noticed how the Wizards' tempo changed when DeLon Wright got hurt. Now, when DeLon Wright and Danilo Gallinari, I can't say it 12 times in a row. They go out of the game, the Hornets start to come back. They come back in the game, and they've got a handle on things defensively. DeLon Wright gets hurt, and there's for sure a void, such that in the after-game presser with the media, Coach Wes Unseld Jr. admitted and said in that moment when DeLon got hurt, he wasn't sure what to do. And I appreciated that very honest and transparent answer. I remember last year, former general manager Tommy Shepard, in his end of season media availability, when we asked him about, of course, last year's team, there was high hopes for that Wizards team. Of course, we know they didn't even make the playoffs. And we asked former general manager Tommy Shepard, what was the difference in the Wizards season? Where did it happen? And he said it was when DeLon Wright got hurt. He said those 46 games, they didn't have DeLon. That was a key differentiator for the team. Talking throughout the season with team members, they all said the same thing. It was a recurring theme about the importance of DeLon's veteran defensive skill set and just his knack of knowing the game, and him not being there was a void. So how about this? If it was a void last year, right? I mean, nobody's expecting to get hurt. Let me be very clear. But if you know you brought DeLon back, nobody's made a steal, right? Injuries do happen, okay? Perhaps it would be wise to either have a solid backup plan for DeLon Wright, or have either a solid backup plan, a contingency plan, something for a DeLon Wright, because you already know last year, because you said it repeatedly, that you missed DeLon Wright from rotation. You missed his defensive capability. So here we are again, another year. And this is now something, it has happened, but you should have learned from last year. So that's one of my key takeaways. And Wizards fans, I want to know if you caught on to that as well. We went through this last year. And if you knew that that was a lesson learned, that you did not have a contingency plan when DeLon Wright goes down, then I want to see the contingency plan, because it happened last year. Again, he's not made of steel. Injuries happen. But if you know that that skill set is something that is critical and a critical piece to your rebuilding structure, then therefore you should ensure that somebody else within your roster is able to display that. And if you don't have it, that's a problem. If you do have it and it needs to be cultivated and inspired and empowered, then that's where the player development comes in at. This is why we have the staff, and we've created an environment where it is a focus on player development. And there you go. Next person up needs to be ready. That's my spiel on the Wizards, because that just happened last week. And I said, I want to see if this challenge gets fixed, because I remember the same thing happening last year and it being a recurring theme that without DeLon, we are missing a key piece. You have the capability. You may have it in Bilal, right? I mean, is anybody going to ever play Johnny Davis? What can he do? That was the first round pick last year, right? Wasn't he? That was last year, wasn't it? Yes. So it's time to really assess, okay, understanding that this is rebuild. And I appreciate this comment here. It's not dysfunction. This is not a Wizards. This is not a dysfunctional Wizards team. I do want to be very clear about that. And here's why. It's a rebuild. They told you months ago they were starting from the beginning. It's a whole new stat. This is new president, new general manager, new team. It's a rebuild. And Delonte, you may have missed my comment earlier. Rebuilds hurt. Rebuilds are challenging. I've been saying it since Tommy Shepard got fired. I said, oh, here we go. The moment everybody said they wanted is here. Because if Tommy Shepard gets fired, that means Brad is up out of here. They're officially going to start over. And with a start over, I said, this is where Wizards fans get caught up, because they're not going to understand that this is going to look like and feel like the last 40 years. That's a rebuild. That's what it is. But at least now, everybody can put a name to it. So it's not dysfunction. It's restructuring. It's rebuilding. You got a new general manager. You got a new president. You gotta bring people in. That's what it is. So move away from dysfunction. It's going to feel like and look like the other years, but be very clear. Because one thing about this leadership staff, they have been clear from the beginning. This is going to be hard. It is going to look bad a lot of the times. It's going to be, woo, everybody get together and pray. But that's a rebuild, and that's a restructuring. And as I've said on the show from the very beginning, this is going to be a rough one. Now, even with it being a rough one, even with it being a restructuring, even with a rebuild, I am expecting and looking to see, because if I go to practice and if I'm at a game And I want to see, because DeLon got hurt last year, and this was a thing. So now I'm seeing something from pre-rebuild. I'm seeing something from last year happen again this year. And I'm going to say, well, did you learn anything from last year? Because this was a problem last year and it hasn't been fixed. This is not a new issue. This is something, and I'm not talking, let me be very clear. I'm not saying wins, loss. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the contingency plan for a DeLon Wright type of skill set. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What is the contingency plan? What is your plan B, C, and D? If you know that that's a critical asset, you went through this last year. You knew you needed them. 46 games you talked about, the 46 without DeLon. Now here you are without DeLon, and it's the same mistakes again. Now see, that's when I have to address it. That's when it's like, okay, I understand. I absolutely understand rebuilding, restructuring. But I'm absolutely going to have to also address when I'm seeing something from last year that I don't believe we should see this year. Hope that helps a bit. Wizards take on the Knicks at home. They take on the Bucks on Monday. So we shall see what happens. Now, I already see comments. See, one thing about me, I call out comments. Hey, Dundee, how are you? Let's get to the Commanders. Guess what, buddy? Now is your chance. Commanders fans, check on in. And if you are just now tuning in, you are now watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I'm your host, C. Wall. This is a live Bowie television recording. We're now entering to the Commanders part of the conversation. If you are just joining in, we talked a lot about the Wizards and we have shared some information about what they're doing, what they're going through. I'm trying to help Wizards fans get through it. Commanders fans, let's hope I don't have to help you get through it next week. Let's hope I don't have to help you get through it next week, because let me be very clear with you about something. Let me be very clear about something, Washington Commanders fans. If I have to help, I'm not going to be able to help you. Here's the reality. The Commanders have to beat the Giants on Sunday. I don't. Is there anything else left to talk about? Love button, fire emoji. If it doesn't, what else is there left to discuss? Is there anything else left to say? Seriously, because look, and let me also be clear about something there. I'm not saying that they have to just act like this is going to be easy. I'm not saying that. And I'm seeing the comments coming in about Sam Howell. We can jump to Sam Howell. I'm not saying at all that this is going to be easy, because I don't believe any professional game is easy. I just don't. But what I am saying is they need to beat them. I am saying that they absolutely need to beat them for sure. Okay. And there's no ifs, ands, buts about that. They need to, in front of the home crowd, they need to handle business. It just is what it is. I want to go back to Sam Howell. Love button, fire emoji. You know, I would like to say, I had so many people. See if you all, let me know if you remember, just a few months ago, okay, I was telling people, because I'm at practice every day, what I saw in Sam Howell. And do you all remember the number of people that tried to tell me that I didn't know what I was watching? I'm there. I'm there. And how many people Tried to tell, and I'm like, come on, I'm there. And you're going to try to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. Now, everybody loves Sam. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I wanted you to love them. I wanted you to love them and love him. He's good. It's very good. Very good. In Jahan Dotson, very good. He did very good. Yes, he is. Matter of fact, and I appreciate this. Everybody didn't believe me. Just give it a minute. Because I said, you have to, this was the, and I'm going to go back to this because I'm holding true to two things. And one, this was the Jack Del Rio's defense year to shine. It was on them. Why? Because you were dealing with a new to starting in the NFL quarterback. You were dealing with a new offensive coordinator, a new together offensive line. Those three components, that's new. That is very new. You're pretty much dealing with the same things on defense. You said all you needed were two ball hawking corners. And you got your two ball hawking corners in the first and second rounds. Everybody was happy, very happy on draft night. Extremely happy draft night in the day after. Okay. And so I'm holding true. I'm going to stick to what I said. I said, this has to be the year the defense is who they're supposed to be. This has to be it for them. They got to do this. Just dispel all the rumors, dispel all the myths that they can only perform against mediocre to not so good quarterbacks. Get to the quarterback. Get the pressure up there. Do it. It's on the defense this year. Because the offense is going to come along, but they're going to come along slower. So you got your goons on defense. You got the people that you want. This is who you wanted. You got everybody. Let's get to it. And what we've seen is an offense that has now caught up to the defense, and in some ways potentially may have passed the defense in progress this season. That I did not see coming. Now I saw Sam coming. I knew what it was. I was more concerned about the offensive line, but shout out to the offensive coaching staff for making the appropriate adjustments. And we talked about that on the Washington Commanders update earlier this week. Shout out to them for making the adjustments. Okay. And the continued learning. And hey, it's far from perfect. But I think there needs to be something said for the progress that has been made on offense. Drop in the chat. Can everybody type progress? That's all. You heard me talk about this all the time. All you want to see is progress. That's all. You want to see progress being made. Progress matters. You want to see that the mistakes that they're making, they're learning from those mistakes and they're able to apply it in game. You want to see those things. But I've been saying, for sure, good deal right there. Good deal right there. He can learn. He's gonna so I saw that coming. I saw that progress. I saw based on how he takes feedback. I saw based on how he implements corrective action. I saw those things. I saw it. What I didn't see was what the defense is doing. I didn't see that coming. I'm just going to tell you all the truth. I didn't see that. One thing about me, I want you all to recognize when I was right and also recognize when I was not right. I was like, whoa, I just knew this was it. I said finally. Now, we have always acknowledged on this show, and you all remember and know, if you've been watching this show for a long time, I've been saying it for a long time. I said, you all, it's a rumor going on around about this defense that, truth be told, they only perform well against mediocre to not so good quarterbacks. And we don't want that to be true. We don't want that to be true. It looks like it might be. Looks like it is. And that's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. I think that they are even shocked by how this season has gone for them. I think they're even shocked. And I see this comment here. Yeah, this isn't a good deal. And we're talking about winnable games. We're talking about winnable games. That they just, I mean, not all winnable. Again, nothing's perfect, right? But I want to go to this comment here. And I said this on Monday, that if you have to rely, and you all know I'm a Sam Howell advocate. I'm not saying he's perfect. It's not about crowning anybody. I'm an advocate. I see the growth. I see the progress. You see it, then great, right? But what did I tell you all on Monday? Hey, listen, if this team has to rely on Sam Howell-led offense currently, I'm not talking about in the future. I'm talking about right now. If this team has to rely on a Sam Howell-led offense in order to win the football game, that's not a good sign. It's actually it's just not a good sign. Okay, it's problematic. It's problematic, and that is what we've seen here. And it's nothing anybody can do to get those games back. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it, and I'm going to jump to some snippets from conversation that we had with Jonathan Allen in the locker room today. I don't think anybody's more disappointed than them. I mean, we're talking about it as media. And I'm talking with you all about it. Nobody's more disappointed than them. I just want to let you know that right now. But oh, what this team could be if the progress meter, was moving at the same pace. Could you, visualize that for a moment. Just for a moment, visualize what this team could be. And while you're visualizing that, let's jump to one of the snippets from the media scrum with Jonathan Allen today.
This year, does that make it more interesting going into a game like this?
I want to say it makes it more interesting. At the end of the day, we know what's on the line for our season. And at this point, we're in the playoffs already. We got to win every game. And every week's another opportunity to improve on what we got to do. But at this point, we got to win. And, that's what it comes down to. So try not to focus too much on the opponent. Focus on what I have to do and what we have to do as a unit, as a team to be successful. And that's going to be our game plan moving forward.
How tough is it for you guys when you feel like you're playing good defense and then the explosive plays just kind of end up being backbreakers?
I feel like it's just we exhale. We play really good, we play solid, and then we exhale for one snap, and then that's when we get hit. And that's because you just can't do that. You can't take any play for granted. And throughout the course of the game, one or two plays is going to make the difference, and you don't know when those plays are going to come, so you got to be ready when they come.
Has this been? You had some high hopes coming over here. Has this been one of the more frustrating years? Just because it's kind of early, you start to get some momentum stops.
That's hard to say. We've had some rough years here, and every year you don't have the start that you want to have. It's going to be frustrating, and as time moves on, you kind of forget about what happened in the past. But I do know it is frustrating because our offense is playing so well, and defensively we're just not holding up our end of the bargain. So it definitely is frustrating.
Personally, with that frustration, is that something you try to block out on game day, or do you try to use it to fuel improvement?
On game day is the easy part because I'm out there just playing football and doing what I like to do. It's harder throughout the week, but on game day, I'm just playing ball. Same thing I've been doing since I was 5.
I know you played with Casey and James McCullough volumes quite a bit over your career, but since the trade, has that been an adjustment for you guys on the inside too, just that familiarity of
I want to say so much with Casey and James, but definitely like KJ and Andre and FA, just some of the guys that have been playing with Chase and over here. Me and Payne, we got to try to do more to help them out, and we got to play together as a defense line and as a defense in general.
How would like a guy like
So before I move on to the next snippet, and if you all are just tuning in, you're watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update, and I am your host, C. Wall. We are talking Washington Commanders right now. You can always watch the show later and catch all the Wizards talk for all of you Wizards fans. We're talking Commanders now, week 11, playing the New York Giants at home. The word on the street is, at least from Bowie Television, is they need to win the game. That's kind of just the synopsis there. What I want to acknowledge that Jonathan Allen said was that, and I see this comment here. Yes, that's Tevin Camp. Listen, the music selection today, my type of vibe, but that absolutely Tevin Campbell. Hearing Jonathan Allen say out loud, the offense is exactly what we were just talking about, right, you all? The offense is playing so well, and the defense is not holding up their end of the bargain. This is your team's leader. On acknowledging the same thing that we were just talking about. Said it out loud. Says it. They getting it over there on the offensive side. We're not. Think about that. Because I'm still going to go back to visualize what this team could be with the offense playing well. And I mean, in some aspects, the offense might be playing better than some people expected. I mean, drop in the chat if the offense, all things considered, right? Sam Howell, Coach Bieniemy just coming in, offensive line, woes, and drop in the chat. Are they about where you think they should be? Did you think they were? Do you think it took them too long to get to this place? Or are they actually outpacing where you thought they would be right now? I would really love to know your thoughts on that. Really appreciate it. Jonathan Allen being the transparent, encouraging leader that he is, acknowledging the offense, but also acknowledging that the defense is not holding up their end of the bargain. And I'm going to switch to this snippet here that includes one of the questions that I had for Jonathan going into this week's game.
I want to say surprised. I'm disappointed because I know we can play better than what we have. But you're only as good as what you put on tape, and this is where we're at right now.
How do you prepare for a guy like Tommy DeVito who just doesn't have much out there?
As a defensive tackle, I try to take a center approach every week. I try to collapse the pocket, make sure he can't step up. We know he's going to try to run, try to limit his running abilities, and just make him uncomfortable as possible. And that starts by taking the running game away.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it.
John, really quick, how do you continue to stay motivated? I mean, week after week, you are the one at the center of the huddle, center of the team, just speaking, encouragement, motivating. How do you yourself stay motivated when the season is going this way?
I spend a lot of time in my Bible. I spend a lot of time praying, and I try to get my strength from the Lord. Beyond that, I feel like I'm a very motivated player, and one thing I pride myself on is I'm not really motivated by money. I'm more motivated by legacy. So I'm always trying to not only be the best player I can be, but improve and prove my worth to people. And I'm always setting goals and challenges for myself. And I feel like I'm a very just motivated, self-motivated player naturally.
I really wanted to know because again, what I shared with you all earlier is nobody is more disappointed than how this season is going than they are. For real. And that's in real life. This is not something that they're just like, oh, well, another game. Hey, it's not that. They too thought this season would be, just everything. Nobody envisioned this record. Nobody envisioned Chase Young currently being a San Francisco 49er and Montez Sweat being a Chicago Bear. This is not at all what anybody envisioned, especially after all of the work that they put in since May to be better, to make this work, to come together. So it's always interesting to me because he is a leader of the team. You know, we see him on the Commanders reels, right? We see him on the Commanders social media every week. If you go to the games, you see him on the field every week. He's the one giving the motivational speeches. He's the one saying, hey, this is what we got to do. This is what, how do you hold up? You know, how do you hold up without saying, okay, somebody else got to do the speech today because I can't do it. He gets up there and he does it every week. So they can't lose this week. That's that. I said all of that to say, in terms of Commanders talk this week, they cannot lose to this Giants team. Now, I didn't necessarily say that, frankly, a month or so ago when they were playing the Giants at MetLife Stadium. However, I absolutely said that because the defensive line was playing against mostly second stringers on the Giants offensive line, I said they needed to look out. They needed to be aware because I said everybody keeps talking about Tyrod Taylor, you know, at the time, like he was a bum. And I'm like, no, he's absolutely not. So I said they need to look out. That was my advice. They needed not take this lightly. They needed to show up. I also said that offensive line was going to have a very hard day against the Giants defensive line. And they still got some of their pieces there. But at the end of the day, they just need to beat them. They really need to beat them. It's a short week. Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They got to have something to keep them motivated and have them motivated. Try to get one division win going into the week and it being a short week. And win. It's really no reason for you not to. Still don't take it lightly. I'm not saying this like, oh, this should be easy. Now, remember, I also had this conversation when they were coming up against the Bears. Like, wait, the Bears are desperate. So you got to watch a team that's desperate. The New York Giants are desperate, but you're talking about somebody that's not having a good season. The New York Giants are not having a good season at all. So you just have to maximize that. Who's having the worst season right now? Okay, well, we're having a little bit better of a season than they are. Let's go ahead. And then they beat us the last time. No, we can't let them beat us again. It really just has to be the mindset of handling business at home on a short week when you have back-to-back division games. It is like a straight no chaser. Go out there. Everybody's name should be called at this point on the Commander side in a positive way. It should just be lights out. Really. It should be. Now, I'm saying it like it's easy. I'm going to say it again. No, it's not easy. But if you are tired of the ridicule, the criticism, you tired of losing, all of the above, you tired of the ridiculing, the criticism, losing, don't lose. And that might help. Because playing the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving is never like, an easy deal. That's the afternoon game. That's the game that everybody probably going to be watching. It's a lot at stake. It's a lot at stake. And they want to keep their season alive. I mean, it's week 11. Nobody wants to cash it in right now. They're professionals. They love doing what they do. Let's see what happens. All right, you all. I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate you all hanging out with me as you do each and every single week because there's Wizards games. There's so much going on. Make sure you stay locked into my page because we got to figure out when I'm going to do this show on Monday after the Washington Commanders update. Hopefully it's a victory Monday. And you all don't hear me say that too often, but for real, I really hope it is because I'm like, if it's not, I might start Thanksgiving early and say, hey, everybody be blessed. Because that's going to be a tough show if that doesn't work out on Sunday. But yes, I see Lamar Bland's comment. I tried to get everybody out because, you know, Bowie TV covers the Baltimore Ravens as well. So you all enjoy Thursday night football. Make sure you're following Bowie TV Sports and Karita Parks on Twitter with all of the Baltimore Ravens updates for all of your Baltimore Ravens loving family and friends. We show love to everybody around the Beltway, you all, truth be told. But thank you all for tuning in, and I will talk to you all again soon.